Israel's war cabinet has approved Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's plan for a full military occupation of Gaza City.
The Energy Minister, Miatta Fahnbulleh, joins us now. We've got plenty to talk to you about, which is within your energy brief, of course. But, of course, we have to begin with that breaking news from Israel. What is the government's response here to it?
We think that this is the wrong decision. We think it risks escalating an already intolerable situation, and we hope that the Israeli government will reconsider that decision. And look, there's no one that can see the situation in Gaza and what's unfolding and not think it is absolutely heartbreaking and horrific. And we have to continue working in order to get a ceasefire. That means bringing people around the table to negotiate that. We've got to get humanitarian aid into Gaza because there are people who are starving at the moment, and we've got to get the hostages out. We are focused on trying to find a pathway towards peace, towards that two-state solution that looks incredibly remote at the moment with everything that's happening on the ground. But everything that the Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary will be doing is in order to secure that outcome. And
what does the government fear would be the consequences of Benjamin Netanyahu following through on this occupation of Gaza City? Just to be clear, Israel is already occupying 75% of the Gaza Strip. The 25% that's left is essentially this city and a few other areas. What is the fear that the consequences will be in the following months?
Well, we're worried that the escalation will lead to more bloodshed. We've got a lot of people who are in Gaza City. There is a humanitarian crisis, catastrophe unfolding, and more fighting will not help anyone. So we hope that there will be a de-escalation. We hope that the Israeli government will move away from this, take itself from the brink, and start towards that pathway to peace that we absolutely need to achieve.
But Minister, let me say, you're calling it a catastrophe. You've called it a starvation. I mean, that couldn't be stronger words. You're saying this. The IDF chief is against his own Prime Minister and has said this action will endanger hostages because this is no longer about the hostages. Why do we continue to support a country that's accused of genocide by many and still supply component parts to F-35s? It's all well and good you coming saying this, but actions speak louder than words. So why do we continue to support and supply those arms?
You're right. Actions speak louder than words. And what I will tell you is the Foreign Office, our diplomatic team, the Prime Minister are working relentlessly, are working with our allies to apply maximum pressure on Israel and critically to try and get people around the table so that we can find a way out of this. And that's not going to stop if we don't put in the hard yards, if we don't put in the time and investment in order to find a way towards that ceasefire. Because in the end, the way that we get out of this is to get parties around the table with a political solution, ceasefire. We've got to get humanitarian aid in, and we are doing our part for that aid effort. We've got to make sure it gets onto the ground to people in Gaza, and critically, we've got to get those hostages out. We will continue to focus on those objectives. We will continue to work with our allies to do everything within our power to achieve that objective.
If that doesn't happen, will we end up withdrawing support then? Because we can't threaten these issues and these sanctions, as Starmer has done, and then not follow it up. So if that doesn't happen, if we don't get round a table, there's no ceasefire plan, will the UK withdraw support?
Well, listen, we've been pretty robust with the Israeli government throughout this, and we've been both robust publicly, but we've also been robust privately through our diplomatic interventions with them. That's not changing. To the issue of arms, that's something we did very early on in our time in government, where we made sure that arms that would be directly sold into Israel were stopped. We will continue using the levers within our power in order to apply as much pressure to get a movement in this situation. It is intolerable. We cannot, there's no one that is seeing what's happening and thinks that this is an outcome that anyone can want. And we will continue playing our role in order to apply pressure to all parties to get to the outcome and the resolution that we need to achieve here.
OK, let me just ask you about a domestic issue that has made the front pages of the newspapers. Late last night, Labour's homelessness minister was forced to quit, and she's been renamed by the Daily Mail this morning as the Minister for Hypocrisy. This is about the fact that Roshana Ali had a home that she had on rent. She then wanted to sell it, evicted those tenants, put it on for sale, it didn't quite sell, and so then she put it back onto rent with new tenants for an extra £700 a month. There was hypocrisy there because she's the homelessness minister, and the Renters' Rights Bill is one of those where they are trying to make renters have more rights where this kind of thing can't happen to them. Are other Labour ministers this morning looking at their own portfolios and looking at whether they are being beacons of good landlord behaviour, unlike Roshana Ali?
Well, Roshana has been really clear in her resignation letter that she didn't break any rules, she didn't break any laws, she did things in the right and appropriate way.
So why did she quit then?
Because she, again, I refer you to the letter, felt that it would be a distraction and therefore made that decision to resign. But look, to the fundamental point, do we need to level the system and rebalance it in favour of renters who tend to have far more precarious contracts? When people rent a home, they want the security, and that is absolutely what we're trying to do through the Renters' Rights Bill. We're focused on achieving that outcome because we know we need to give renters a better deal. The government isn't resigning on that. That is our focus, and it will continue being our focus.
So did she behave in an unethical way?
Well, look, she's been really clear in her letter that she did not do anything wrong. She did not break the ruals.
But do you think she was being unethical?
But she didn't break the rules, she didn't break the law. But look, what matters, and you're asking me questions that are for Roshana, what I care about, what the government cares about, is the job of levelling the playing field for renters. We've got to get, you know, there have been lots of promises to renters over 15 years, but none of that has been turned into legislation to provide that protection. That is our focus, and it will continue to be our focus.
Miatta Fahnbulleh, we're going to run out of time, but you are the Energy Consumers Minister. Let me ask you about this consultation that you are looking over at the moment that says if you've got a pylon within 500 metres of your house, an electric pylon, you'll get £250 off a year for energy bills. But experts are saying that's simply not enough. I mean, if you look at what that will do to the price of the house, if they come to sell it within years, it's simply not enough. It's small change, really, isn't it? That's not going to make any difference at all. There's not going to be an incentive whatsoever to people.
Well, I think at a time when many households are really worried about energy bills, a £250 discount a year for 10 years will matter to people. And look, let's go back to what we're trying to achieve through this.
But even if you look at what it does to the house price, it's all well, it's all well and good giving people, but what it will do to the price of the house, is that still a benefit for people at home?
Well, what are we trying to do through this reform? We need to build out our energy infrastructure. We have to do that if we want to guarantee our energy security. We have to do that if we want to deliver affordable, homegrown energy for everyone in the country. And our view is that if we are building and developing, it is absolutely right
that
communities
next door to a house?
Host...
Would you live at a house with a pylon next door and happy that's going to take the price of your property down by 10% or more? You'd be happy with that, will you?
Look, I would live next door to a pylon, but look, the fundamental point is if there is development, communities should benefit from that, and they should benefit directly. And so the idea of this is, if there is investment that's going into development, what is your stake in it, and what are you benefiting from? And so the discount is a way in which we can achieve that. And I think that is absolutely right. The communities have a stake and have a benefit. And in the end, it has to be a partnership. You know, we need to build, but we need communities alongside us doing that. And hopefully this gives them an upside in that process.